Hi, welcome to lesson 2 of the week. Just following on the theme of resource management, and we're going to be looking at water again today, mainly looking at, well, actually just looking at water in Britain, mainly England. And we're going to be looking at distribution of that again, reasons for distribution, and what we do about the uneven distribution within England. So if we look first of all, we've got our iSpell words for this section. Okay, so you will be expected to use these. There are two long questions in this. There's one 4 marker, one 6 marker, and then there's some sort of 10 quiz questions at the end as well. What I'd like you to do is when you do the 4 and the 6 mark questions is to send those in to me to show that you've done them. Right, so our iSpell words, just to recap, we've gone through these in the previous lesson, but if there's anything that you don't quite understand, you need to get the definitions down. You need to learn them. But you'll notice I've got a red arrow pointing to water deficit, and that links into the keyword at the bottom here called water stress. Okay, now water stress is very, very similar to water deficit. It's effectively, if you're not going to get water, you're stressed. Okay, and if you can't turn the tap on and find that there's water there, or there's going to be difficulty getting it to you, then that is going to create some stress for you. So we're going to be looking at using that term water stress today. So the first thing is we're going to be looking at how water is distributed around the UK. Now the map, as I've said up here, clearly shows water stress. All right, and just to reiterate again, just to go through that, water stress is where your demand for water is far greater than your supply. Okay, on the left hand side here you've got 22 named places. These link to all the places here, and they are the water boards for the country. All right, water boards, as I've clearly said, it provides your supply through pipes. It creates your drainage away from your house, the sewerage of everything that goes out the bathroom, the toilet, the sink, the dishwasher, the washing machine. And it provides your sanitization or your cleaning of that water before it puts it back into the system again for you to reuse and recycle. And you'll notice that some of these water boards are much bigger than others. Okay, and look at, this one here, number 19 is United Utilities, takes in the whole of Cumbria and Lancashire there. 21 is Yorkshire Water, there's 4 different counties within that. And then up the top here we've got Anglian Water is number 22, same as number 1. Okay, and then we've got number 8, which is Northumbrian Water. Now, obviously, if you look down the bottom here, down the south, this is us, number 14. We are with Southern Water, and you're right next to number 9, which is Portsmouth Water. Populations are much higher and densely populated in here, so they have got to supply a lot more houses in here, in this area here, than they will do in this huge areas up here. So therefore, that's why some of the water companies are much smaller in the south. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide the country up for you at the moment. I want you to think about this. Okay, so effectively what we're going to do is we're going to divide there. I'm going to divide there. And I'm going to kind of, whoop, it's gone. I'm going to divide down there. All right. And what we've done here is we have divided the country up into 6 regions. All right. So now we've got the Northeast, we've got East Midlands. Really, probably actually, let's just change that slightly. That will need to come more like that. Okay. We've got our Southeast region, our Southwest, our West Midlands. Notice that the area of Wales is white. It doesn't count on here because we're only looking at England. Okay, and this little section here comes under the same water board, Severn Trent, because of the River Severn flows out here. So this tiny little bit of Wales here does come under the English water boards. And then up the top here, we've got our Northwest region. Now, it's quite important to recognise that because when we start to look at water stress, we can now clearly start to see that there's a pattern. We notice that the entire north of England has got low stress. We notice that the East and the West Midlands and Cornwall has got moderate water stress. Okay, and then down in the southeast of the country and the southern region, we have got serious water stress. Now, what I want you to do is you just need to make a few notes about this water distribution. I would look at regionalising what this water stress is like, so what it's like in the northwest and the northeast, and then you have a 4-mark question. It's one of those distribute questions. We've practiced 2 of those already. So when you're starting to look at a distribute question, what we need to do, okay, we'll come to that in a minute, is you will need to look at areas that are in serious stress. And you should be talking about regions and potential towns that are in that area. Compare it. Areas in moderate or low stress. Now, the key part of this is to use these regions. If you can regionalise your geography of England, then you would end up getting 4 marks for it. Another point you might want to make is that in the southeast of England, the large concentration of water companies within that part of the country. Okay, so we've got a larger number of water companies suffering serious levels of stress compared to the north of England, where we've only got 4 water companies and they are suffering low areas of stress. Okay, have a go at the question. I'm going to pause right now. Press pause. Okay, so you've looked at areas that are suffering water stress within the UK, and clearly the southeast region is suffering the greatest, and the north and the northwest and northeast of England is suffering the least amount. And there does appear to be that correlation as you move down through the country, that the levels of stress become greater. Now, what we don't know at the moment is why some of these areas are suffering such great water stress. I'm going to take you through this one by one. Now, if you look at slide 3 or page 3 of your PowerPoint booklet that you've got, you'll notice that I'm asking you to make notes. There are three maps that we need to look at, and then what you're going to do is you're going to answer the question on water stress at the bottom. So I'm just going to try and get this to work. Seconds. Doesn't always work. Okay, good. So I want to go back. All right, so the first one we're going to look at, I'm going to divide these maps up again. So we're not looking at Scotland at the moment. So let's put a line through Scotland just there. Don't need to use Scotland. And we're not really using Wales as well. So we're talking about this area here, which is England. And this is a physical map of the country showing areas of flat land and showing areas of highland within the country. Again, if I was to divide the country into bits, okay, so my curved line there, that's not quite right. My curved line there, just put it in the same place, do it again. Curved line in there, that's better. We've got the west and the east. If we then draw our line across here, okay, we're now starting to divide that into the southeast, southwest, got the Midlands, East and West Midlands, and we've got our northeast and our northwest. Okay, so we can clearly see on this map here that the greener the country, the flatter the land is going to be. Up here we've then got more mountains, so the likelihood is with more mountains we're going to be getting more rainfall. Reason being, okay, as the wind, because the wind blows in across the Celtic Sea across here, that's our wind, and what happens is in these areas here, as the mountain goes up like that, the warm air from the sea rises over the mountains and it cools, forming clouds, and obviously as it then starts to sink, it starts to warm up again. The vapour turns back into droplets, and then we get the rain. So as the wind comes in across here in Wales, you get a lot of rainfall in here. You get a lot of rainfall in here, so the Lake District of England. But what we tend to get is a rain shadow up in the northeast. The rain's already happened. The rain's happened here, so we're not going to get as much rainfall around about here. You'll notice that the west side of the country is much hillier. We're talking about Exmoor, Dartmoor in this area here. You've got the Quantocks, Mendips, Welsh mountains. So we're going to end up getting a lot more rainfall on one side of the country. And so I'm just going to take that off there. All right, get rid. and then we'll get the second map up for you. Okay, so this map here is showing population density. And what I'm going to do now again is I'm just going to divide the country up into little pieces again. So we're going to go roughly from there to there and across there. All right, and what we'll do is we'll put our middle line in. So there we go. Now what this is now showing you is the population densities, the number of people per square kilometre. Very purple, 10,000 people per square kilometre. So we're looking at London here. Okay, you're looking at Birmingham in there, Newcastle and Sunderland up here. Really looking at Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, and Sheffield, and this spine of the Pennines down here where there used to be a lot of industry, all the way across here is where you find some of the major settlements. Now the purple stands out very, very, very clearly. What is less obvious is the shading, the pink shading in the background here. So look at these little squares and funny shaped areas of purple, pink, purple, purple, pink. You go to the northwest and it's white, which means there is very, very few people per square kilometre. So even in the less sparsely populated areas, it is much greater number of people per square kilometre than the northeast of here. So the immediate one that jumps out is London and these purple areas, but actually look at the shading in here. And this would suggest to you that the southeast is densely populated and the northeast and the northwest is sparsely populated. Now obviously what that will mean is where there's more people, you're going to need more water because there's more demand for it. You look at that in here and I've already told you that actually this area here is the least likely to have the water, yet there's more people living there. And more people would have lived there because the land is flat, and therefore what's happened is it's easier to develop in those areas. When we look at the next map, we then start to look at the rainfall. So the rainfall of the country, less than 600 millimetres average across the year, more than 3,000 millimetres average across the year. So we've got a lot of rainfall happening up in the northwest, all the way down the mountains in Wales and in the southwest of England down here. All right, now the striking one is Cornwall, because Cornwall has quite a bit of rainfall. It's got low population, but as we saw from the previous map, it's got loads and loads of water stress. So what we've now got is a continuing pattern of population growth towards the southeast, flatter land, and lower levels of rainfall. If you put all of that in together, what you then start to find is that you end up with an uneven distribution of water stress within the country. So what I want you to do is to make sure that you've got 1 or 2 notes in each of the boxes about physical map, population density and rainfall, and then just give me a little bit of a statement in the bottom right hand box just to describe the overall pattern of the 3 maps and to show why we have got uneven distribution of water stress within England. Okay, I'm going to stop the video here because I'm going to move on to the next slide on a separate video. All right.